Hello and welcome to another Beyond Shakespeare exploring session. I think this is the fourth. Yeah, this is the fourth exploring session. Well, the first exploring session. This is not going to get complicated at all. Sorry, Rob. Of The Alchemist. Because we're taking it act by act, reading it very slowly. The Alchemist by Ben Jonson, dated to 1610, if I recall correctly. And we're basically here in Act 4, Scene 1. If you want to know what happened in the previous acts, please go back and watch the video because a lot of stuff has happened. Basically, we're conning people, as far as I remember. There are 3 con artists. They've set up about one too many cons, and they're about to collide. They've locked Dapper, one of their targets, in the bathroom. And as far as I remember, they described it as only the fumigation is somewhat strong. I wonder why. So without further ado, we should probably introduce these wonderful readers. I was going to just jump into the play, then I remembered that we actually have to introduce you. So without further ado, reading face, we have muted at present.
There you go. As again, yes, Keith Hill. Thank you very much.
Reading subtle, we have
Connor Brown here in London.
Reading true, like a lot of parts. Mammon, Dame Pliant, Drugger, and Ananias. We have
four-headed Lois, also in London.
Reading dull and surly, we have.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm in the Northwestern United States.
And reading Kastril, we have.
Very angry in Suffolk.
And yeah, before I sort of I'm Eric Karoulla. I'm filling in for Rob, who is probably somewhere doing something important, more important. Yeah, and yes, we should probably move on into Act 4, Scene 1. So enter Face and Mammon. Face is muted.
Oh, sir, you're coming the only finest time.
Where's Master?
Now preparing for projection, sir. Your stuff will be all changed shortly.
Into gold?
To gold and silver, sir.
Silver I care not for.
Oh, yes, sir, a little to give beggars.
Where's the lady?
At hand here, I have told her such brave things of you, touching your bounty and your noble spirit.
Hast thou?
As she is almost in her fit to see you, but, good sir, no divinity in your conference for fear of putting her in rage.
I warrant thee.
6 men, sir, will not hold her down, and then, if the old man should hear or see you,
fear not.
the very house, sir, would run mad. You know it, how scrupulous he is, and violent against the least act of sin. Physic or mathematics, poetry, state, or bawdry, as I told you, she will endure and never startle, but no word of controversy.
I am schooled, good Llewellyn.
And you must praise her house, remember that, and her nobility.
Oh, let me alone. No herald, no, nor antiquary lungs shall do it better. Go.
Why, this is yet a kind of modern happiness to have dull common for a great lady.
And exit Face.
Now, Epicure, heighten thyself. Talk to her all in gold. Rain her as many showers as Jove did drops unto his Danae. Show the god a miser compared with Mammon. But the stone will do it. She shall feel gold, taste gold, hear gold, sleep gold. Nay, we will concumberate gold. I will be puissant and mighty in my talk to her.
And with that, enter Face with dull, richly dressed.
There she comes.
To him, doll, saddle him. This is the noble knight. I told your ladyship.
Madam, with your pardon, I kiss your vesture.
Sir, I were uncivil if I would suffer that. My lip to you, sir.
I hope my lord your brother be in health, lady.
My lord, my brother is, though I be no lady.
Well said, my guinea bird.
Right noble madam.
Oh, we shall have most fierce idolatry.
'Tis your prerogative.
Rather your courtesy.
Were there naught else to enlarge your virtues to me, these answers speak your breeding and your blood.
Blood we boast none, sir, but a poor baron's daughter.
Poor, and gat you? Profane not. Had your father slept all the happy remnant of his life after that act, lying there but still and panted, he had done enough to make himself, his issue, and his posterity noble.
Sir, although we may be said to want the gilt and trappings, the dress of honor, we strive to keep the seeds and the materials.
Ah, I do see the old ingredient, virtue, was not lost, nor the drug money used to make your compound. There is a strange nobility in your eye, this lip, that chin. Methinks you do resemble one of the Austrian princes.
Very like. Her father was an Irish costermonger.
The house of Valois just had such a nose, and such a forehead yet, the Medici of Florence boast.
Troth, I have been likened to all these princes.
I'll be sworn I've heard it.
I know not how, it is not any one, but e'en the very choice of all their features.
I'll in and laugh.
And face exits in order to laugh.
A certain touch or air that sparkles a divinity beyond an earthly beauty.
Oh, you play the courtier.
Good lady, give me leave.
You, in faith, I may not, to mock me, sir.
Burn in this sweet flame. The phoenix never knew a nobler death.
Nay, now you court the courtier and destroy. Oh, and destroy what you would build. This art, sir, in your words, calls your whole faith into question.
By my soul,
Nay, oaths are made of the same air, sir.
nature never bestowed upon mortality a more unblamed, a more harmonious feature. She played the stepdame to all faces else. Sweet madam, let me be particular.
Particular, sir. I pray you know your distance.
In no ill sense, sweet lady, but to ask how your fair graces pass the hours. I see you are lodged here in the house of a rare man, an excellent artist. But what's that to you?
Yes, sir, I study here the mathematics and distillation.
Oh, I cry your pardon. He's a divine instructor, can extract the souls of all things by his art, call all the virtues and the miracles of the sun into a temperate furnace, teach dull nature what her own forces are. A man the emperor has courted above Kelly, sent his medals and chains to tempt him.
Aye, and for his physics, sir.
Above the art of Aesculapius that drew the envy of the Thunderer. I knew all this and more.
Troth, sir, I am taken, sir, whole with these studies that contemplate nature.
It is a noble humor, but this form was not intended to so dark a use. Had you been crooked, foul, of some coarse mold, a cloister had done well. But such a feature that might stand up the glory of a kingdom to live recluse is a mere solecism, though in a nunnery it must not be. I muse my lord your brother will permit it. You should spend half my land first, were I he. Does not this diamond better on my finger than in a quarry?
Yes.
Why, you are like it. You were created, lady, for the light. Here, you shall wear it. Take it, the first pledge of what I speak, to bind you to believe me.
In chains of adamant?
Yes, the strongest bands. And take a secret, too. Here by your side doth stand this hour the happiest man in Europe.
You are contented, sir.
Nay, in true being, the envy of princes and the fear of states.
Say you so, Sir Epicure?
Yes, and thou shalt prove it, daughter of honor. I have cast mine eye upon thy form, and I will rear this beauty above all styles.
You mean no treason, sir?
No, I will take away that jealousy. I am the lord of the philosopher's stone, and thou the lady.
How, sir, have you that?
I am the master of the mystery. This day, the good old wretch here of the house has made it for us. Now he's at projection. Think, therefore, thy first wish now. Let me hear it, and it shall rain into thy lap. No shower, but floods of gold, whole cataracts, a deluge to get a nation on thee.
You are pleased, sir, to work on the ambition of our sex.
I am pleased the glory of her sex should know this nook here of the friars is no climate for her to live obscurely in, to learn physic and surgery for the constable's wife of some odd hundred in Essex, but come forth and taste the air of palaces, eat, drink the toils of empirics and their boasted practice, tincture of pearl and coral, gold and amber, be seen at feasts and triumphs, have it asked what miracle she is. Set all the eyes of court afire like a burning glass, and work them into cinders when the jewels of 20 states adorn thee, and the light strikes out the stars, that when thy name is mentioned, queens may look pale, and we but showing our love, Nero's Poppaea may be lost in story. Thus will we have it.
I could well consent, sir, but in a monarchy, how will this be? The prince will soon take notice, and both seize you and your stone, it being a wealth unfit for any private subject.
If he knew it.
Yourself do boast it, sir.
Oh, to thee, my life.
But beware, sir. You may come to end the remnants of your days in a loathed prison by speaking of it.
'Tis no idle fear. We'll therefore go withal, my girl, and live in a free state, where we will eat our mullets soused in high country wines, sup pheasants' eggs, and have our cockles boiled in silver shells, our shrimps to swim again as when they lived, in a rare butter made of dolphin's milk, whose cream doth look like opals. And with these delicate meats set ourselves high for pleasure, and take us down again, and then renew our youth and strength with drinking the elixir, and so to enjoy a perpetuity of life and lust. And thou shalt have thy wardrobe, richer than nature's, still to change thyself, and very oftener, for thy pride than she, or art her wise and almost equal servant.
And her face.
Sir, you're too loud. I hear your I hear your every word into the laboratory, some fitter place, the garden, or great chamber abound. How like you her?
Lungs. There's for thee.
And Mammon gives face money.
But do you hear, good sir, beware, no mention of the rabbins?
We think not of them.
Oh, it is well, sir. Subtle!
And basically at the end of scene, Mammon and Dole exit right before Face talks to himself. And Face is left on stage. Any thoughts about this scene? Aside from how dirty it sounds to talk about, like, yes, it will rain upon you like golden showers, and
As it were,
Mammon has definitely not learned brevity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is Jonson. Like, we kind of, he's, yeah.
Yeah, it's rather similar to some of the stuff that Volpone talks as well. I mean, his sort of fantasies of, what you would do if you could do anything. It all tends to be about eating, drinking, and wearing lots of clothes, changing costumes all the time. In other words, variety of extravagance.
I'm just wondering about the free states that they plan to go to, if it existed, or like, for example, I suppose like the modern equivalent would be for some people to be dreaming about going. Well, the stereotype was the American dream, so to speak. So whether this would be the equivalent of something back then.
Yeah, I don't know if if you mentioned the Norton edition, whether it suggests any free states. I mean, in Germany, there are places called Freiburg. I think you could have a city attached to, well, it could be a Catholic state or a Protestant state, or attached to some particular person. And there could be some that were called free because they weren't attached to anybody.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know if that's what he means.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true, because it could be free state as in a condition of being free, rather than like the state as in like a country.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a state as in a nation state.
Yeah. I do like how you can practically hear him salivating. We will eat our mullets in high country wines and all that
I
stuff.
know, you could make this really obscene, really drooling over all that. Yes.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Keith, you seem ready to say something.
Yeah, Mammon seems to me in his language quite crude by comparison with the others. It may just be I haven't tuned my ear into Ben Jonson yet. But he seems to have a lot of rough edges. His full name is Whitwood Mammon, isn't it?
No, Epicure.
Oh, right. Okay. So much for that.
Yeah. And that's what he is. I mean, or it's the sort of the popular notion of an Epicurean. I mean, the real Epicureans were not like that.
Yeah.
Well, stereotypes. I mean, we've talked last session. We talked about Anabaptists and how nobody liked them. So I suppose this is kind of the next stereotype they're playing with. I do like how Dahl keeps coming up with stuff and sort of like, oh yes, I'm studying mathematics and all that stuff. Lynn, you have thoughts?
Yeah, one interesting note that's something sort of lost to time, again, that I picked up from the print edition I have, is that Mammon is comparing Dahl to all these royal houses. The royal house of Austria, which is the Habsburgs, who were kind of notoriously ugly. Evidently, inbreeding. Inbreeding had caused many people in this clan to have a really heavy jaw and an unusually large lower lip, like their mouths didn't close properly. I mean, we don't know whether that's true, but that was the reputation that they had.
Yeah. Oh, eventually it was. I mean, there was one king of Spain who couldn't even eat properly because the whole thing had developed to such a point that it was actually a kind of deformity.
Yeah. And the Medici weren't notoriously attractive. And the Valois, I don't know if they were thought of this way, but they were actually about to die out, and they were actually kind of stickly. So he's comparing her to royalty, but they're not famously attractive people at all.
I do like how Face is basically there sort of going like, yes, I agree completely, and not really. Just kind of like the moment of where Mammon goes, one of the you look like one of the Austrian princes, and Face goes, yeah, sure. Her father was an Irish costermonger. It's like, yeah, she's so Austrian, she's Irish. It just yeah.
I'm not really sure what the joke is there.
Well, I guess it's kind of like Mammon has been led to believe that she's this sort of a noble personage, whereas she's not. Alan,
it's weird. Like, don't talk about religion.
Yeah.
What?
Well, he's an epicure. Epicurean, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like it sets her off. She'll go on her she'll go in. It's like 6 men can't hold her down. She'll go into have like some kind of seizure or something. And
I think
it's
it's really funny depicting this woman as this supreme intellectual. I mean, there's obviously a whole kind of assumption about, essentially prostitutes or sex workers like Dahl, not having much in the way of brains. She's actually putting out a very good act here as an intellectual woman. But
Yeah.
Jonson, of course, is always ridiculing women with intellectual pretensions.
it was
So it's a kind of
Mammon,
double irony. I mean, it's kind of a double attack. She's not what she's pretending to be, but if she were, he would still think it was ridiculous.
yeah.
I think what you've got with Mammon is basically a caricature of an aristocratic boor, B-O-O-R. The guy is an archetype. What I still find interesting is that each of the other marks who we've been introduced to have been relatively brief in their contributions, whereas Mammon just seems to go on and on and on. And
Yeah.
on.
Well, also we've had, I mean, because Mammon basically, he's been promised like the Philosopher's Stone, the Magisterium, I think it was called in this. So it's kind of like he wants to establish, like I'm guessing this scene is about Jonson establishing the expectations that Mammon has of this stone that he's not even seen. So yeah.
Well, we had that in the earlier scene where he told Surly and just soliloquized indeed about what he was going to do when he got the stone. And then after that, he saw Dahl and became eager to have her. And then the whole thing, it's really a high-class brothel by this time. I mean, the setup, and he's really just interested in getting off into bed with Dahl, but he's courting her. Come on, you don't want to just live in this intellectual life, come away with me. And then he promises her all these things, and we go into the kind of come live with me and be my love mode.
He's like, totally, of course, yes, but I have to do a thing first. Yeah, we should probably move on and gather more data, as Rob would say. Act 4, Scene 2, enter Subtle to face.
Dost thou not laugh?
Yes. Are they gone?
All's clear.
The widow has come.
And your quarrelling disciple?
Aye.
Oh, I must do my captainship again then.
Stay. Bring them in first.
It's so I meant. What is she, a bonny belle?
I know not.
What, we'll draw lots, you'll stand to that?
What else?
Oh, for a suit to fall now like a curtain, flat.
To the door, man.
Well, you'll have the first kiss, because I'm not ready.
Exit face.
Yes, and perhaps hit you through both the nostrils.
From within.
Would you speak with it? Who would you speak with?
Where's the captain?
Gone, sir, about some business.
Gone?
We'll return straight, but Master Doctor, his lieutenant, is here.
And enter Kastril, followed by Dame Pliant.
Come near, my worshipful boy, my terraphili, that is my boy of land. Make thy approaches. Welcome. I know thy lusts and thy desires, and I will serve and satisfy them. Begin. Charge me from thence, or in this line. Here is my centre, ground thy quarrel.
You lie.
How? Child of wrath and anger. The loud lie? For what, my sudden boy?
Nay, that look you too. I'm a forehand.
Oh, this is no true grammar, and as ill logic. You must render causes, child. You must first and second intentions, know your canons and your divisions, moods, degrees, and differences, your predicaments, substance and accident, series extern and intern with their causes, efficient, material, formal, final, and have your elements perfect.
What is this? Angry tongue he talks in.
The false precept of being a forehand has deceived a number, and made them enter quarrels oftentimes before they were aware, and afterward against their wills.
How must I do then, sir?
I cry this Lady Mercy. She should first have been saluted.
And at this point, Subtle kisses Dame Pliant, who's entered. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
I do call you lady, because you are to be one, ere lot to be long, my soft and buxom widow.
Your sheer faith.
Yes, or my art is a rigorous lie.
How know you?
My inspection of her forehead and subtlety of her lip, which must be tasted often to make a judgment.
And of course, he kisses her again.
Slight she melts like a myrobalanc. Here is yet a line in Rivo Fontes tells me she is no knight.
What is he then, sir?
Let me see your hand. Oh, your linear fortune makes it plain, and Stella here in more Fontaine Veneris. But most of all, juncture Ananias, he is a soldier or a man of art, lady. But shall I have some great honour shortly?
Oh, brother, he's a rare man, believe me.
And to her face in his uniform, which I'm assuming is the captain's uniform, which he was wearing at the beginning of the play.
Hold your peace. Here comes t'other rare man. Save you, Captain.
Good Master Kastril, is this your sister?
Aye, sir. Please you to kiss her and be proud to know her.
I shall be proud to know you, lady.
Ooh,
And
brother,
kisses her.
he calls me lady too.
Aye, peace. I heard it.
And Kastril takes his sister aside.
The Count is come,
Where is he?
at the door.
Why, you must entertain him.
And what will you do with these the while?
Why, have them, and shew them some Faustian book over dark glass.
Oh, God, she is a delicate dab chick, I must have her.
Exit face.
Must you? Aye, if your fortune will, you must. Come, sir, the captain will come to us presently. I'll have you to your chamber of demonstrations, where I will shew you both the grammar and logic, and rhetoric of quarrelling. My whole method drawn out in tables, and my instrument that hath the several scales upon it, shall make you able to quarrel at a straw's breadth by moonlight. And, lady, I'll have you look in a glass some half an hour, but to clear your eyesight, against you see your fortune, which is greater than I may judge upon the sudden. Trust me.
Exit Subtle, followed by Kastril and Dame Pliant. Okay, so that, I mean, it wasn't a very long scene, but it's a fun little scene, sort of. Though I can't quite remember what the gag was, like what the con was with this particular group. Kastril was the tobacconist, I believe, or the sort of alchemist. Sorry, yeah. Please correct me, Alan or Lynn or yeah.
Yeah, and Drugger was the person who'd introduced the widow, who at that time was unnamed.
Yeah.
But basically said that she had a brother called Kastril, who basically kept on a fairly short leash.
Mhm. Okay, so that's why Kastril appeared.
And basically, she's been sold as being a rich widow. Hence, both Subtle and Face are looking out for number one and trying for the best chance to actually get their hands on her assets.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah. Of course, because that's what you do with someone whose husband has died and they have money and yeah. Any thoughts? Lynn?
And Kastril, they have heard his pretensions to gentility, and one of the things a gentleman knows how to do is to initiate and maintain a quarrel, and that's what Kastril seems to be interested in, is to learn how to quarrel like a gentleman. And so Subtle was pretending to know all about that. I remember last time he's got a spreadsheet. So they will take money from Kastril for instruction in how to quarrel and duel like a gentleman. in the meantime, use him as an excuse to get close to his sister and perhaps even marry her. So she's stuck with one of them. And he has control of her fortune. So they're the sister and brother are marks in slightly different ways, but they kind of come as a set. In the meantime, they're telling Drugger, oh, we'll get her for you. And you just have to, pay for that privilege. So yeah, little money here, little money there, little bit.
It all adds up. Alan, you had a thought?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that I think there's a bit of what for Jonson is actually reasonably subtle satire going on here, because there are occasional words in Kastril's speech which are very definitely, I think, almost phonetic ruralisms. He's not gone full Mummersett.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a few occasions where a vowel sound has been replaced with a U. And I think the idea is, this guy is reasonably well off, but he's a bit of a country bumpkin.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, if I'm not mistaken, Subtle in this scene is disguised as the doctor that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And, doctor is like someone knowledgeable about something specific, not necessarily a medical professional. And he basically throws words at Kastril. So he kind of goes like, yeah, sufficient material, formal, final, and you have your elements perfect. And like, Kastril's like, what the hell is he talking about? Lois, yeah.
Yeah, two other things. I mean, one is just, I think Dame Pliant wanted to come up to London to get someone to tell her fortune, particularly who she's meant to marry next. And that's the game they're playing with her, telling her fortune. That's why they say your husband will be either a soldier or a man of art. In other words, obviously one or the other of us. The other thing is just that that line of faces, oh, for a suit to fall flap now. I mean, this is actually about disguise. I mean, he's wearing a complicated outfit, and he's going to have to disappear and put something else on. Yeah. And I think there's another, he comments on this, that it sometimes it's a disadvantage because he can't be there for something. So it just, and the idea of a suit that would just fall flap is kind of interesting. I mean, a specific sort of costume.
I imagine it's like the modern equivalent would be something with Velcro. You just pull it. Or, yeah. I was wondering about the Fustian book or the dark glass. Is that like a mirror or just some other like object?
Yeah, I would imagine they probably got some old books with diagrams and stuff in them they can hand them. And as for the dark glass, yeah, it could just be mirrors mostly weren't very good anyway in this period, and so it could be something that is so dark that they can just barely see themselves in it, but they can be persuaded that they're seeing something else.
Oh yeah, true. Lynn.
And there's a well-known biblical passage, now I see but in a glass darkly, someday I will know as I am known. So cultural reference there. Yeah, I kind of love the line about the flap costume, because it's a sort of a meta theatrical moment. It's like these quick changes are exhausting, because the actor as well as the character is changing really quickly, and they don't have the technology of quick closures that we do. Everything, there were some buttons, but everything kind of tied. When we talk about being braced, the breeches and the doublet were tied together, and then the ties were hidden to keep everything together so your shirt didn't tuck out. And then the stockings, what we would call stockings or hose, were tied to the breeches, and so and the sleeves were separate, and they tied into the armhole. So it's and the doublet might button up the front, but with many little buttons. If you look at paintings from the period, the buttons are like an inch apart. There's like zillions of them. So yeah. And of course the actor will have wardrobe people back there helping him, but Face wouldn't. He would have to do this all by himself. So yeah, he's tired of this thing.
So basically he's like, why hasn't someone invented zips yet? Or something
right?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I just like I'm just wondering because like Rob would probably be asking, well, where do we stick the blue pencil in this? But then I think it kind of I don't know, like because at this point all the sort of cons are coming in and
Yeah.
stuff, and kind of nearly tripping over each other. Like they've locked Dapper in the toilet, or what the privy.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
with gingerbread in
privy
his
locked.
mouth and like blindfolded, if I remember correctly. And
Gagged with gingerbread.
yeah.
Yeah.
And well, Kastril and his sister are being entertained by Subtle, and then Face is about to come on with, I'm guessing, the Spanish count, or is that just another count? I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a supposed Spanish count showing up.
Yeah. So so everything's colliding.
Yeah, but
Barely.
if on the subject of editing, though, of cutting, this is Mammon's third appearance where he really just talks too much. I think we can convey the impression that Mammon talks a lot and it just sort of has diarrhea of the mouth, and have him say about half of what he does. I mean, it's we get the idea. So
Yeah.
It just
sorry, Keith and Alan.
Sorry, it just strikes me that just sort of listening to what's being said, that one explanation for Mammon being as he is that he is terrifically nervous and very excited. And when faced with particularly a woman that he desires, he just burbles.
Mm.
And one can, I had originally imagined him as sort of in middle age and quite bulky, but he might actually just be a frightful stripling or just inept. So he becomes this sort of garrulous clown. But I think Lynn is right. It feels as if there is somewhere it could be cut. There's a bit of redundancy in there, isn't it?
Alan? Yep.
Yeah, I mean, my thought actually on one way that you could a director could handle the Mammon bits is, yes, he's got these long speeches, but someone cuts across him once he starts burbling on, and he's sort of mouthing away in the background. He's got his lines, but nobody's actually hearing them because the circus has moved on.
Yeah, true. And I guess like Dull in character might be fiddling with something, or like I don't know, just like straightening his doublet or something, or just something that is very like draws attention to it, and he kind of can lose his thread of thought or something. Like, oh my, this woman is interested. Or not really. But anyway, we probably move on and see what further data we can collect from this play, because I'm actually quite enjoying this. In a way I didn't quite get, because now it's actually the payoff of all the sort of cons on top of each other. So I feel like we've had all this set up for like 3 acts and something, or well, 2 acts and something, and then now we're getting the fun stuff. So Act 4, Scene 3, enter Face.
Where are you, Doctor?
I'll come to you presently.
I will have this same widow now I've seen her on any composition.
Enter Subtle.
What do you say?
Have you disposed of them?
I have sent them up.
Subtle, in troth, I needs must have this widow.
Is that the matter?
Nay, but hear me.
Oh, go to. If you rebel once, Dull shall know it all. Therefore be quiet and obey your chance.
Nay, thou art so violent now. Do but conceive. Thou art old and canst not serve.
Cannot I? Slight, I will serve her, and with thee for a...
Nay, but understand, I'll give you composition.
I will not treat with thee. What? Sell my fortune? 'Tis better than my birthright. Do not murmur, win her, and carry her. If you grumble, Doan knows it directly.
Well, sir, I'm silent. Will you go help fetching Don in state?
Exit Face. Yeah.
I follow you, sir. We must keep face in awe, or he will overlook us like a tyrant.
Enter Face, introducing Surly, disguised as a Spaniard.
Brain of a traitor, who comes here? Don John?
Señores, beso las manos a vuestras mercedes.
Would you have stooped a little and kiss my anus?
Peace, subtle.
Stab me. I shall never hold man. He looks in a deep ruff like a head in a platter, served in by a short cloak upon 2 trestles.
And what do you say to a collar of brawn cut down beneath the souse and whittled with a knife?
Slut. He does look too fat to be a Spaniard.
Perhaps some Fleming or some Hollander got him in Dalver's time. Count Egmont's bastard.
Don, your scurvy yellow Madrid face is welcome.
Gracia.
He speaks out of a fortification. Pray God he have no quibs in these deep seats.
Por Dios, señores, muy linda casa.
What says he?
Praises the house, I think. I know more but's action.
Yes, the casa. My precious Diego will prove fair enough to cozen you in. Do you mark? You shall be cozened, Diego.
Cozened, do you see, my worthy donzel? Cozened.
Entiendo.
Do you intend it? So do we, dear Don. Have you brought pistolets or Portuguese, my solemn Don? Dost thou feel any?
Fool.
You shall be emptied, Don, pumped and drawn, dry as they say.
Milked in troth, sweet Don.
See all the monsters? The great lion of all, Don.
Con licencia, si puede ver a esta señora.
What? He talks now.
Of the Senora.
Oh, Don. This is the lioness, which you shall see also, my Don.
It's subtle. How shall we do?
For what?
Why, Doll's employed, you know.
Oh, that's true. For heaven, I know not. He must stay, that's all.
Stay? That he must not, by no means.
No, why?
Unless you're moral, slight, he will suspect it, and then he will not pay not half so well. This is a travelled punk master, and does know all the delays. A notable hot rascal looks already rampant.
Stephen, and Mammon must not be troubled.
Mammon in no case.
What shall we do then?
Think! You must be certain.
Entiendo que la señora es tan hermoso que codicio tan verla como la bienaventuranza de mi vida.
Mi vida? Slit subtly puts me in mind of the widow. What dost thou say to draw her to it, eh? And tell her 'tis her fortune. All our venture now lies upon't. It is but one man more, which of us chance to have her, and beside, there is no maidenhead to be feared or lost. What dost thou think on't, Subtle?
Who? I? Why?
The credit of our house, too, is engaged.
You made me an offer for my share erstwhile. What wilt thou give me, if faith?
Oh, by that light, I'll not buy now. You know your doom to me. In take your lot, obey your chancellor, win her, and wear her out for me.
Slight, I will not work on her then.
It's the common cause. Before bethink you, Doll else must know it, as you said.
I care not.
Señores, ¿por qué se tarde tanto?
Faith, I am not fit. I am old.
That's now no reason, sir.
Puede ser de hacer burla de mi amor.
You hear the Don, too? By this air I call, and loose the hinges. Doll!
A plague of hell!
Will you then do?
You are a terrible rogue. I'll think of this. Will you, sir, call the widow?
Yes, and I'll take her too, with all her faults now I do think on better.
With all my heart, sir, I am discharged of the lot.
As you please.
Hands.
Remember now that upon any change, you may never claim her.
Much good joy, and health to you, sir. Marry a whore, fate let you wed a wench first.
Por estas honoradas barbas.
He swears by his beard. Dispatch and call the brother to
Exit face.
Tengo dudas, señores, que no me hagan alguna traición.
how? Issue on? Yes, prestante, senor. Please you enter the camera worthy don, where, if you please, the fates in your batanda, you shall be soaked and stroked, and tubbed and rubbed and scrubbed and fubbed there, Don. Before you go, you shall in faith, my scurvy baboon Don, be curried, clawed, and floored and tawed indeed. I will the healthier go about it now, and make the widow a punk so much the sooner, to be revenged on this imperious face. The quickly doing it is thy grace.
And exit subtle with surly, who's disguised as a Spaniard. Okay.
And consequently understands everything they say when they think that he doesn't.
Yeah. I do like the puns though. Oh, he's talking about traición. Issue on. Yes, issue. Alan.
I'm just wondering whether Subtle and Base actually know that it's surly disguised.
Oh no.
Because before he was incredibly skeptical of everything that they were up to. But it's a little unclear as to whether they know it is surly or not.
No, they can't possibly know that it's surly. I mean, they just wouldn't be behaving like this. The whole thing would fall apart. They think it's a Spanish count who is desperately rampant, very impatient to get this prostitute that he's heard about, and that they better find somebody for him fast before he blows up the place. The thing that is, I think, odd about it, it's more a question of whether the audience is meant to know that it's surly. It's meant to be a surprise later.
Yeah.
Lynn.
That's a good question. I mean, how do you work that? Because doubling was so common. If the audience is meant to know that Surly is conning the con artists, how do you signal that to the audience but still make his disguise good enough that we're persuaded that Face and Subtle fall for it? So it's, does he come on and sort of pull down his beard and look around and then put it back, or what? But I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Surly has their number and he's basically trying to break up the game by conning the con men. And I think the irony and the point here is that Face and Subtle think they're smarter than everybody else, but they are just as gullible and prone to believe what they want to believe as all of their victims are. So there's a really sort of wonderful irony in this scene.
Yeah, I do like how they're like, shit, we only have one woman involved in this plot. We need more women. And then they just decide to get Dame Pliant involved. Who of course has no, well, I assume she has no idea, and that they don't plan to let her know what's going on, but like sort of go, oh yes, this is a rich Spaniard, would you like to, whatever. And I guess at this point historically we're okay with Spaniards, so it's okay to sort of have a smart-ish Spaniard, or an Englishman disguised as a Spaniard. Alan?
Yeah, but again, you've got the standard vignette of the comedy foreigner.
Yeah.
Lois and then Keith, I think, wants to say.
Yeah, there's the stereotype also how Spaniards dress, which is very large ruffs. I mean, they make all these jokes about how it looks as if he's carrying his head on a large platter. And I think Webster makes a very similar joke, and I think the White Devil about somebody carrying his head as if he was afraid of breaking it, on a big rough.
Mhm. Yeah, it's quite well. I'm just reading through Suttle's last speech, and he does like to go on as well, sort of like as much as maybe not to the extent that Mammon does, but he has the similar sort of curried, clawed, flawed, towed. He likes to rhyme. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's rhyming slang or something. Or he just has a rhythm and it's like, come on, I have an idea, let's do this. Yeah. Keith, anything to add? Although you're currently invisible and probably muted, I can't see.
Indeed, I am. Well spotted. It's there's also this weird thing where you've got driving pace with one crisis after another springing up, and all the quick change jokes, and yet you've always got one character who is driving everybody to distraction by just gassing on, when really what they do is need to get on and get it sorted. And it's beginning to feel like sort of a Johnsonian standard. Yeah.
I did like the part where Suttle goes, "What should we do? What are we meant to do now?" And Face goes, "Think." Like, just put your cap on and think.
Yeah. You're the smart one.
Yeah. You're the one with all the cons. And then they just kind of agree. They spend, well, it feels like 10 minutes, but it's probably shorter because, like, obviously this would be like really, really, really fast. I'm assuming. They probably even have a secret handshake as well. And then Surly is just standing there going, "What on earth are you doing?" Even if he is pretending to be a Spaniard. Lois, then Lynn.
Well, so much of the pleasure of the plot is in the rather ingenious way that one thing can be used for two purposes. I mean, like getting Mammon's metal to turn into gold and then proceeding to sell it to the Puritans. This is another example of it, using one woman for two purposes, or trying to figure out what to do with her. I mean, it's really very distasteful, I think, this notion that she's already damaged goods because she's a widow, so somebody else has had her virginity, but at least there's only one person. Oh, now there are going to be two, and that makes her less attractive. But Face may already have thought out what he's going to do about that later. But at any rate, they this discussion of just how many women can somebody have slept with before you decide that she's a whore and you don't want to marry her because it would dishonor you then.
Yeah, and just kind of like, well, they decide to use her because Doll is currently she's already been the fairy queen, and she was
Doll's been the fairy queen,
yeah. And she was her ladyship, who I don't know if she was given a name.
Oh yeah, the Lord's sister,
with Mammon as well. So it's kind of it's like she's busy. We can't interrupt her right now. Everything will fall apart. It's the House of Cards thing. Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually very clever. While Doll is pretending to be the wealthy widow with Mammon, they have to enlist Dame Pliant to pretend to be the courtesan with the Spanish, with the Spanish nobleman. So, but Dame Pliant. The character is really kind of troubling. I mean, she's named Pliant, like she lets her brother push her around, and she's definitely more of an object than a human. It's just kind of. But I wanted to jump on Lois's comment about the Spanish rough. So not only is the there's a name for it, I can't remember, but the classic Elizabethan pleated ruff, it does have the effect of looking like a head on a platter. It's also out of fashion by this point. It's kind of old fashioned. And the other thing about Spanish, the stereotype of Spanish fashion is that their breeches are really puffy, the slops, which are the short puffy breeches. They put a lot of fabric in those, so they have these big puffy breeches and a large old-fashioned pleated ruff, so they have this sort of really kind of clownish to the Elizabethan, to the Jacobean eye, as well as ours way of dressing.
Yeah, and well, there is that glorious stage direction where Face feels well, it says feels his pockets. So basically he feels the Don's pockets, aka Surly's pockets. So presumably they're using that costume note as well, kind of like he's got huge pockets, therefore he must be rich. And there's probably going, how dumb do you have to be feeling someone's pockets, like not realize that they're gonna work out what you're doing, even if you don't speak the same language. Yeah, Lois.
Well, pockets actually could be detachable things. They weren't necessarily built into clothes, which it was a fairly complicated procedure. They were often just separate, like little purses that you attach to your clothes. That's why it's relatively easy to pick a pocket.
Yeah.
In women's clothing, they were always you can actually like Google images of that they were like little pouches on a string under the skirt, and there was a little slit in the skirt where pockets would be, where a woman could reach in, get her handkerchief, whatever. And the women's skirts were so full that you could keep quite a bit of stuff in your your pockets, and it wouldn't be visible. The menswear, however, I don't know if the pockets were separate. But again, this big round hose, you could keep a lot of stuff in your pockets and it wouldn't be visible.
You could. They do talk about pocketing up wrongs, but then it's hard to know what exactly that means.
I'm just intrigued.
It means tolerating being wrong. It means.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know what it means. That's visualizing it. Whether you mean put it into our notion of a pocket or separate pocket.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm enjoying this act way too much. I feel like we shouldn't cut anything, but maybe that's just me. Yeah, so a light trim, perhaps. So Act 4, Scene 4 then. Enter Face, Kastril, and Dame Pliant.
Right. So apologies, I've had a bit of a glitch. Bear with me. Right, here we go. Come, lady. I knew the doctor would not leave till he had found the very nick of her fortune.
To be a countess, are you? A Spanish countess, sir?
Why, is that better than an English countess?
Better? Slight? Make you that a question, lady?
Nay, she's a fool, Captain. You must pardon her.
Ask from your courtier to your Inns of Court man, to a mere milliner, they will tell you all. Your Spanish jennet is the best horse, your Spanish stoop is the best garb, your Spanish beard is the best cut, your Spanish ruffs are the best wear, your Spanish pavan the best dance, your Spanish titillation in a glove the best perfume, and for your Spanish pike and Spanish blade, let your poor captain speak. Here comes the doctor.
Enter Subtle with a paper, presumably a piece of paper.
My most honoured lady, for so I am now to style you, having found by this my scheme, you are to undergo an honourable fortune very shortly. What will you say now, if some?
I've told you, her all, sir, and her right worshipful brother here, that she shall be a countess. Do not delay them, sir, a Spanish countess.
Still, my scarce worshipful captain, you can keep no secret. Well, since he has told you, madam, do you forgive him, and I do?
You shall do that, sir. I'll look to it. 'Tis my charge.
Well then, naught rests, for that she fit her love now to her fortune.
Truly, I shall never brook a Spaniard.
No?
Never since '88 could I abide them, and that was some 3 years afore I was born, in truth.
Come, you must love him, or be miserable. Choose which you will.
But this good rush persuader, she'll cry strawberries else within this 12 months.
Nay, shads and mackerel, which is worse.
Indeed, sir.
Glad you shall love him or I'll kick you.
Oh, why, I'll do as you will have me, brother.
Or by this hand, I'll maul you.
Nay, good sir, be not so fierce.
No, my enraged child. She will be ruled. What, when she comes to taste the pleasure of a countess, to be courted?
And kissed and ruffled,
Aye, behind the hangings,
and then come forth in pomp
and know her state.
of keeping all the idolaters of the chamber bearer to her than at their prayers,
Is served upon the knave,
and has her pages, ushers, footmen, and coaches,
her 6 mares,
nay, 8,
to harry her through London to the Exchange, Bethlehem, the China houses.
yes, and have the citizens gape at her and praise her tires, and my lord's goose-turd bands that ride with her.
Most brave. By this hand, you're not my sister. You refuse?
I will not refuse, brother.
And to this fray enter Shirley.
¿Qué es esto, señores, que no venga? Esta tardanza me mata.
It is the Count come. The doctor knew he would be here by his art.
En galantana madama, don galantes misa.
Por todos los tíos, la más acabada hermosura que he visto en mi vida.
It's not a gallant language that they speak.
An admirable language. It's not French.
No, Spanish, sir.
It goes like law French. That, they say, is the courteous language.
List, sir.
El sol ha perdido su lumbre con esplendor que trae esta dama. Válgame Dios.
He admires your sister.
Must she not make curtsy?
Odds will, she must go to him, man, and kiss him. It is the Spanish fashion for the women to make first court.
'Tis true he tells you, sir. His art knows all.
¿Por qué no se acude?
He speaks to her, I think.
That he does, sir.
Por el amor de Dios, ¿qué es esto que se tarda?
I see. She will not understand him. Gull, Noddy.
What say you, brother?
That's my sister. Go kiss him as the cunning man would have you. Thrust your pin in your buttocks, else.
Oh, no, sir.
Señora mía, mi persona es de muy indigna de allegar a tanta hermosura.
Now, does he not use her bravely?
Bravely, a faith.
Nay, he will use her better.
Do you think so?
Señora, si será servida entre monos.
And Shirley exits with Dame Pliant.
Where does he carry her?
Into the garden, sir. Take you no thought. I must interpret for her.
Give Dull the word.
Exit face.
Come, my fierce child, advance. We'll to our quarrelling lesson again.
Agreed. I love a Spanish boy with all my heart.
Nay, and by this means, sir, you shall be brother to a great count.
Aye, I knew that at first. This match will advance the house of the Kastrils.
Pray God your sister prove but pliant.
Why, her name is so by her other husband,
How?
the widow Pliant. Knew you not that?
No, faith, sir. Yet by my erection of her figure, I guessed it. Come, let's go practice.
Yes, but do you think, Doctor, I shall quarrel well?
I warrant you.
And they exit.
Okay.
So basically they arranged the match, which was, I don't know if it was a matter of time. There's a part of me going, I want like Shirley and like if this is performed, well, when this is performed on stage, I kind of want like Sir titles translating what Shirley has said. And obviously it's completely wrong Spanish. But I think this is actually accurate Spanish, but it would be funny if it's not. Just because, or if it's just him swearing at them and then they kind of keep going, this is the courtliest language, and so on and so forth. Lois.
Yeah, well, I think the Spanish is actually fairly accurate. I mean, it's also pretty easy for any audience to figure out what he's saying, particularly because it's accompanied with action. I mean, what's funny is that Subtle and Face don't know any Spanish, and they're guessing at what he says. But if he's kind of all over Dahl with all this stuff about you're beautiful, the sun's splendor is dimmed by the luster of your eyes, and so on, then they just say, he admires your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the line about crying strawberries within a 12-month. Is that just basically an expression of like
it's like selling matches? I mean, I don't know if anybody says that now, but I mean, she'll just be so broke. I mean, she'll be out on the street. She'll be, one of the street vendors. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was imagining like, because strawberries are red, therefore it's sort of, just like being beaten so badly that she'd be crying blood or something. And I obviously my brain is much more dark and mysterious. Lynn.
And my guess was that she'll be craving strawberries because she's pregnant.
But no, it says if she doesn't go along with their plan to, marry her to the Spanish count, she'll be crying strawberries. I mean, it's either this, untold wealth and pleasure, or it's total abject poverty, and she'll be doing some crummy job.
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking street vendor, and I was thinking for other reasons earlier of Oliver, because in there you have got a strawberry seller, I think, and various other who will buy number.
Yes, and in fact, Dahl's father was an Irish costermonger, so she was probably crying apples in the street.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. Okay, that is okay, that clears up a lot. The I was going to mention something else, but I can't remember what it was now. I was thinking that because like there's a lot of action that I mean, for like in the previous acts we've had like sort of artificial breaks where people exit and enter and exit, and then end of act or end of scene. And I was thinking that if we were going to put the interval somewhere here, we wouldn't put it in this act. We wouldn't put we'd put it either before or I don't know. Like I wouldn't put it where we stopped the end of Act 3. It feels a bit weird to do that, but maybe that's just me. Because end of Act 3 cuts between like Act 3 and Act 4 is where we stopped and then started again. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's a very strange place to stop. I think. Alan.
Yeah, I think the interval point is probably somewhere in the middle of Act 3, where the scams are just starting to unravel. And I think part of the thing is that the 4 scenes that we've done so far would need to run at breakneck speed, because you've got this whole farce thing going on of all of these people suddenly turning up, and Face and Subtle trying to juggle eggs to make sure that the people do not collide in ways that's going to give the whole scam away.
And also kind of but also you don't want to cut it so early that people are kind of like, okay, this is just set up, this is boring. But no, it's an interesting question to ponder. Lois.
I mean, I agree. One place you could put it earlier is they're sort of carting Drugger off to the Fortune's privy lodgings. But another point would be after Epicure and Dahl exits, saying, we're not thinking about the rabbis. I mean, because it gets more and more hectic, that scene. It's riddled with sensuality, and if they go off at that point, then it's kind of like, the only example I can think of at the moment, unfortunately, is from something I can't mention. But anyway, where there seems to be a tremendous sense of sexual excitement and people rush off stage, and then that would be quite a good point at which to break it.
Yeah. It is a good point. And well, I guess we can consider that while we read the final final scene from this act. At least I think it's the final scene. I don't know, but yeah. So this is basically Doll talking to Mammon, and she's raving about something. So
Well,
also
evidently he mentioned religion.
yeah.
Yes, and she's not really talking to him. She's just gone mad, or pretends to go mad. Yeah.
Yeah, also,
And
I was
actually, there-
wondering how you would set this up, because obviously there's a lot of entrances and exits, but if you've got a big enough stage, you could probably just like light different parts of it. But then that means a lot of people are on stage at the same time.
Well, I think they're meant to be. I mean, that's part of the problem, that the whole plot depends on keeping people apart. And once they all get together and start comparing notes, then Subtle and Face have to figure out a way of making all their stories somehow fit into the master plan.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Act 4, Scene 5, enter Doll in her fit of raving, followed by Mammon.
For after Alexander's death,
Good lady.
Pericles and Antigonus were slain. That too stood Seleuc and Ptolemy,
Madam.
made up with the 2 legs, and the 4th beast was Grog North and Egypt South. With after that was called Gog Iron Leg and South Iron Leg.
A lady.
And then Gog Horned, so was Egypt 2, and Egypt Clay Leg and Gog Clay Leg.
Sweet madam.
And at last Gog Dust and Egypt Dust, which fall in the last sync of the 4th chain, and these be stars in the story which none see or look at.
What shall I do?
For as it says, except to call the rabbins and the heathen Greeks
A dear lady.
come from Salem and from Athens to teach the people of Great Britain.
Enter Face hastily in his servant's dress.
Now, so what's the matter, sir?
To speak the tongues of Aber and Javan.
Oh, she's in her
We
fit.
shall know nothing.
Death, sir, we're undone.
Where then a learned linguist shall see the ancient used communion of vowels and consonants,
My master will hear.
a wisdom which Pythagoras held most high,
Sweet, honorable lady.
to comprise all sounds of voices in few marks of letters.
Nay, you must never hope to lay her now.
They speak all together. Presumably
so
at
we
the same
all-
time.
How did you put her into it?
And by Talmud skill and profane Greek to raise the building up of Helens
I talked of a 5th
Oh,
monarchy. I would have read.
against the Israelite
philosopher's
kingdom
stone.
of Torgam and Habergians,
Chance,
which
and she
stormy
falls on the other
blue
four
fiery
straight.
the force of King Abaddon,
Out of
east
Rot.
of him,
I told you so.
Rabbi
Slit
David-
stop her mouth.
Is best.
She'll never leave Elves. If the old man hear her, we're but feces.
to
Ashes.
interpret Rome.
Subtle.
Subtle, you are muted.
What's to do there?
Oh, we're lost. Now she hears him, she is quiet.
Enter Subtle. They run different ways. Exit Face and Doll.
Oh, where shall I hide me?
How? What sight is here? Close deeds of darkness, and that shun the light. Bring him again. Who is he? What, my son? Oh, I have lived too long.
Nay, good dear father, there was no unchaste purpose.
Not? And free me what I come in?
That was my error.
Error? Guilt. Guilt, my son. Give it the right name. No marvel if I found checking our great work within, when such affairs are these are managing.
Why, have you so?
It has stood still this half hour, and all the rest of our less works gone back. Where is the instrument of wickedness? My lewd false drudge?
Nay, good sir, blame not him. Believe me, 'twas against his will or knowledge. I saw her by chance.
Will you commit more sin to excuse a varlet?
By my hope, 'tis true, sir.
Nay, then I one the less, if you, for whom the blessing was prepared, would so tempt heaven and lose your fortunes.
Why, sir?
This will retard the work a month at least.
Why, if it do, what remedy? But think it not, good father, our purposes were honest.
As they were, so the reward will prove.
Oh,
How now? I mean, God and all saints be good to us.
Enter Face.
What's that?
Oh, sir, we are defeated. All the works are blown in fumo. Every glass is burst, furnace and all rent down as if a bolt of thunder had been driven through the house. Retorts, receivers, pelicans, bolt heads are struck in shivers. Help! Good sir! Alas, coldness and death invades him. Nay, Sir Mammon, do the fair offices of a man. You stand as you were readier to depart than he. Who's there? My lord, her brother is come.
ah, lungs!
His coach is at the door. Avoid his sight, for he's as furious as his sister's mad.
Alas,
My brain is quite undone with the fumes, sir. I ne'er must hope to be mine own man again.
is all lost, lungs? Will nothing be preserved of all our cost?
Faith, very little, sir. A peck of coals or so, which is cold comfort, sir.
Oh, my voluptuous mind, I am justly punished,
And so am I, sir.
cast from all my hopes
Nay, certainties, sir.
by mine own base affections.
Oh, the cursed fruits of voice and lust.
Good father, it was my sin. Forgive it.
Hangs my roof over us still, and will not fail. Oh, justice upon us, this wicked man.
Nay, look, sir, you grieve him now with staying in his sight. Good sir, the nobleman will come to and take you, and that may breed a tragedy.
I'll go.
Aye, and repent at home, sir. It may be for some good penance you may have it yet. £100 to the box at Bethlehem
Yes,
for the restoring such as have their wits.
I'll do it.
I'll send one to receive it.
Do. Is no projection left?
All flown or stinks, sir.
Will not be saved. That's good for medicine, think you?
I cannot tell, sir. There will be perhaps something about the scraping of the shards will cure the itch, though not your itch of mine, sir. It shall be saved for you and sent home, good sir, this way, for fear the Lord should meet you.
Exit Mammon.
Faith,
Aye,
is he gone?
yes, and as heavily as all the gold he hoped for were in his blood. Let us be like, though.
Aye, as balls and bound and hit our heads against the roof of our joy. There's so much of our care now cast away.
Now, to our Don.
Yes, your young widow by this time is made a countess. Faith, she has been in travail of a young heir for you.
Good sir.
Off with your case, and greet her kindly, as a bridegroom should, after these common hazards.
Very well, sir. Will you go fetch Don Diego off the while?
And fetch him over too, if you'll be pleased, sir. Would-do were in her place, to pick his pockets now.
Why, you can do it as well if you were set to it. I pray you prove your virtue.
For your sake, sir.
And they exit, and yeah, I made a mistake earlier. This was not the final scene of this act. But hey, it doesn't matter. Mistakes happen, as you can see from like this scene. I did quite enjoy that Mammon is basically like there must have been a code word for Dol to sort of start raving so that they can get rid of Mammon, like if he's staying too long or something, or getting too close or something like that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to communicate like that well. I feel like you'd need like the three performers who are doing Dol, Face, and Subtle would need to be on top of their game, so they'd have to just like maybe rehearse separately from the others, see what happens. I don't know. Lois.
Yeah, I think there's a line in the previous scene about a worn doll now or something. You know, this is the bit where we tell her to start screaming in a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, mostly I think you just think they're incredibly skillful, but there are hints that they do have to transmit messages to each other.
Yeah, this is true. And like, you know, well, even at the end of this scene, we get like, if only Doll were in her place, in the
Yeah.
place of the widow, we'd be rich by now, even more rich than they already. Yeah, and I do like how they set it up so that Mammon, if he doesn't obey these specific conditions, he will lose all his money, and he won't get what he wants. So, but he'll feel sort of guilty for it as well. So yeah, Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, the con with Mammon is, on the face of it, working the way it's supposed to. You lead him along and get him to give you seed money, and then you set him up to fail, so he thinks that he did something to make the whole deal go pear-shaped, and just leaves him and goes away in shame and leaves him alone. So far so good on that, but they've got a lot of balls in the air, so we'll see.
Yeah, true. But they managed to get rid of one so far. I'm still thinking that, like, during this act, Dapper is locked in the toilet with gingerbread in his face.
Oh, this whole time.
Yeah, which is somehow even more hilarious. Like, if you wanted to stage it properly, you could just like have someone on the other side of a door rattling it, just like though I think they tied his hands behind his back or something like that. And Lois.
Yeah, the scene is probably meant to be a good deal more hectic and loud than we've made it, because I think in some texts they actually do print those speeches in parallel columns, you know, with the idea that they're all saying the lines at once, which we can't really do on Zoom without just blasting the thing. And then, of course, there's meant to be an enormous offstage bang. I mean, I just saw the production that is being done, a somewhat shortened version in Oxford, and is about to open in London, or I think has in fact played in London. It's fairly heavily cut because it's done without an interval, but that bang was very effective. I mean, sounds of millions of glasses breaking and explosion and so on.
Yeah, and presumably it's loud enough to interrupt whatever is happening. Otherwise, it doesn't work effectively as a sound cue. Yeah, I do like how Subtle falls down in a swoon as well. Sort of like, oh, you've conjured the spirits, or the opposite of that. But yeah.
Oh, I am so holy and pure, and I'm offended by what's been going on here.
Yeah, of course he is. He's completely offended because it wasn't his idea. We should probably move on to see Act 4, Scene 6. As I said, it wasn't the last scene. Enter Shirley and Dame Pliant.
Oh, sorry. Lady, you see into what hands you are fallen. Most what a nest of villains. And how near your honor was to have catched a certain clap through your credulity, had I been so punctually forward as place, time, and other circumstances would have made a man, for you're a handsome woman. Would you were wise, too. I'm a gentleman come here disguised only to find the knaveries of this citadel, and where I might have wronged your honor and have not, I claim some interest in your love. You are, they say, a widow, rich, and I'm a bachelor worth naught. Your fortunes may make me a man, as mine have preserved you as a woman. Think upon it, and whether I have deserved you or no.
I will, sir.
And for these household rogues, let me alone to treat with them.
Possibly exit the Dame Pliant and enter Subtle.
How doth my noble Diego and my dear Madam Countess? Hath the Count been courteous, lady, liberal and open? Donzel, methinks you look melancholic after your contortium and scurvy. Truly, I do not like the dullness of your eye. You have a heavy cast. 'Tis upseat Dutch, and says you are a lumpish whore, master. Be lighter, and I will make your pockets so.
And Subtle attempts to pick Surly's pockets.
Will you, Don Baud and Pit Purse?
And he strikes him down.
How now, reel you? Stand up, sir. You shall find, since I am so heavy, I'll give you equal weight.
Help! Murder!
No, sir, there's no such thing intended. A good cart and a clean whip shall ease you of that fear. I'm the Spanish Don that should be cozened. Do you see, cousin? Where's your Captain Face, that parcel broker and whole Baud, all rascal?
And enter Face in his uniform.
How? Surly?
Oh,
Sorry.
Oh, make your approach, good captain. I have found from whence your copper rings and spoons come now, wherewith you cheat abroad in taverns. 'Twas here you learned to anoint your boot with brimstone and rub men's gold on it for a kind of touch. And say 'twas not, when you had changed the color, that you might have it for nothing. And this doctor, your sooty, smoky, bearded compeer, he will close you so much gold in a bolt's head, and on a turn convey in the stead another with sublimed mercury, that shall burst in the heat and fly out all in fumo. Then weeps Mammon, then swoons his worship.
And Face slips out.
Or he is the Faustus that casteth figures and can conjure, cures plagues, piles, and pox by the ephemerides, and holds intelligence with all bawds and midwives of 3 shires, while you send in Captain, what is he gone? Damsels with child, wives that are barren, and the waiting maid with the green sickness.
Surly seizes Subtle as he is retiring.
Nay, sir, you must tarry, though he be scaped, and answer by the ears, sir.
And they remain on stage, which can't possibly go. So basically, they got caught, and well, Surly isn't threatening to go to the equivalent of the police back then, or the authorities. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Well, he is, but he's kind of like, he hasn't. There's a part of me going, I'm waiting for the sort of blackmail to start. Like, you could possibly die, but usually this is the type of setup that happens, but I don't know if that's just me sort of trying to predict what happens in these situations.
This is really continuous action, and probably would be better if we just went straight on.
Yeah, we should run on. Well, Surly and Subtle are on stage, so Act 4, Scene 7, enter Face with Kastril.
Yeah. Why? Now's the time, if ever you will quarrel well, as they say, and be a true-born child. The doctor and your sister are abused.
Where is he? Which is he? He's a slave, whatever he is. Son of a whore. Are you the man, sir? I would know.
I should be loath, sir, to confess so much.
Then you lie in your throat.
How?
A very errant rogue, sir, and a cheater, employed here by another conjurer that does not love the doctor and would cross him if he knew how.
Sir, you are abused.
You lie, and 'tis no matter.
Well said, sir. He's the impudent rascal.
You are indeed. Will you hear me, sir?
By no means. Bid him be gone.
Begone, sir, quickly.
This is strange. Lady, do you inform your brother?
There's not such a foist in all the town. The doctor had him presently, and finds yet the Spanish count will come here. Bear up, Subtle.
Yes, sir. He must appear within the hour.
And yet this rogue would come in a disguise by the temptation of another spirit to trouble our art, though he could not hurt it.
Aye, I know. Away, you talk like a foolish mother.
Sir, all is truth, she says.
Do not believe him, sir. He is the lying swabber. Come your ways, sir.
You are valiant out of company.
Yes, how then, sir?
Enter Drugger with a piece of damask.
Nay, here's an honest fellow too that knows him and all his tricks. Make good what I say, Abel. The cheater would have cozened thee the widow. He owes this honest drugger here £7 he has had on him in tuppennyworth of tobacco.
Yes, sir, and he's damned himself 3 terms to pay me.
And what does he owe for lotium?
30 shillings, sir, and for 6 syringes.
Hydra of villainy.
Nay, sir, you must quarrel him out of the house.
I will. Sir, you get not out of doors, you lie. And you are a pimp.
Why, this is madness, sir. Not valor in you. I must laugh at this.
It is my humour. You are a pimp and a trig, and an Amadis de Gaul or a Don Quixote.
Or a knight of the curious coxcomb, d'ye see?
Enter Ananias.
Peace to the household.
I'll keep peace for no man.
Casting of dollars is concluded lawful.
Is he the constable?
Peace, Ananias.
No, sir.
Then you're an otter and a shad, a wit, a very Tim.
You'll hear me, sir.
I will not.
What is the motive?
Zeal in the young gentleman against his Spanish slops.
They are profane, lewd, superstitious, and idolatrous breaches.
New rascals. Sorry.
New rascals.
Will you be gone, sir?
Avoid, Satan, thou art not of the light. That ruff of pride about thy neck betrays thee, and is the same with that which the unclean birds in 77 were seen to prank it with on divers coasts. Thou look'st like Antichrist in that lewd hat.
I must give way,
Be gone, sir.
but I'll take a course with you,
Depart, proud Spanish fiend,
Captain and Doctor.
child of perdition.
Head, sir.
Exit Surly.
Did I not quarrel bravely?
Yes, indeed, sir.
Nay, and I give my mind to it, I shall do it.
And you must follow, sir, and threaten him tame, he'll turn again else.
I'll return him then.
Exit Kastril. And Subtle takes Ananias aside.
Drugger, this road prevented us for thee. We had determined that thou shouldst have come in a Spanish suit and have carried her so, and he, a breakerly slave, goes, puts it on himself. Hast brought the damask?
Yes, sir.
Thou must borrow a Spanish suit. Hast thou no credit with the players?
Oh, yes, sir. Did you never see me play the fool?
I know not, Nab. Thou shalt if I can help it. Hieronymo's old cloak, rough and hat will serve. I'll tell thee more when thou bringst them.
Exit Drugger.
Sir, I know the Spaniard hates the brethren and hath spies upon their actions, and that this was one I make no scruple. But the Holy Synod hath been in prayer and meditation for it, and 'tis revealed no less to them than me that casting of money is most lawful.
True. But here I cannot do it. For if the house should chance be so suspected, all would out, and we will be locked up in a tower forever, to make gold there for the state, never come out, and then we are all defeated.
I will tell this to the elders and the weaker brethren, that the whole company of the separation may join in humble prayer again.
And fasting.
Yea, for some fitter place. The peace of mind rest in these walls.
Exit Ananias.
Thanks, courteous Ananias.
What did he come for?
About casting dollars. Presently out of hand, and so I told him a Spanish minister came here to spy against the faithful.
I can see. Come, Subtle, thou art so down upon the last disaster. How wouldst thou have done if I had not helped thee out?
I thank thee, Face, for the angry boy of faith.
Who would have looked it should have been that rascal Surly? He dyed his beard and all. Well, sir, here's damask to make you a suit.
Where's Drudgel?
He's gone to borrow me a Spanish habit. I'll be the count now.
But where's the widow?
Within, with my lord's sister, Madame Dole is entertaining her.
By your favour, Face. Now she is honest. I will stand again.
You will not offer it.
Why?
Stand to your word, Here comes Doll, she knows.
You are tyrannous still.
Enter Doll hastily.
Strict for my right. How now, Doll? Hast thou told her the Spanish Count will come?
Yes, but another is come. You little looked for.
Who's that?
Your master, the master of the house.
How, Doll?
She lies. 'Tis some trick. Come, leave your quibblings, Dorothy.
Look out! Let's see.
And face goes to the window.
Art thou in earnest?
It's like 40 of the neighbors are about him talking.
'Tis he, by this good day.
It will prove an ill day for some of us.
We are undone and taken.
Lost, I'm afraid.
You said he would not come while they dine once a week, within the liberties.
No, 'twas within the walls.
Was't so? Cry you mercy. I thought the liberties. What shall we do now, face?
Be silent. Not a word if he call or knock. I'll into mine old shape again and meet him of Jeremy the butler. In the meantime, do you two pack up all the goods and purchase that we can carry in the 2 trunks. I'll keep him off for today, if I cannot longer. And then, at night, I'll ship you both away to Ratcliffe, where we will meet tomorrow, and there we'll share. Let Mammon's brass and pewter keep the cellar. We'll have another time for that. But, Doll, prithee, go heat a little water quickly. Subtle must shave me. All my captain's beard must off to make me appear smooth Jeremy. You'll do it?
Yes, I'll shave you as well as I can.
And not cut my throat, but trim me.
You shall see, sir.
And they exit to try and work. This is a good place for, blackout, I think. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Just like chaos unraveled, and we almost have it worked out, but oh shit, the master is home. So what is the lesson, children? Never do it in someone else's house. If you're going to pull a con, just do it on your own property, and in your own time, or some. Not that we're endorsing that, of course. And any thoughts about this scene, or I suppose we should segue into final thoughts as well, since it's almost time. Alan and Lois, is that way?
Yeah, I mean, one that always amuses me in these period of plays is references to Ratcliffe and Ratcliffe Highway, which is now effectively Canary Wharf, which, as we all know, is a area of London where spivs hang out. Okay, spivs in sharp suits, but
yeah. I just like that there's like you get the sort of at the end of this scene you kind of have Subtle has to shave face or save face, depending on how you want to do it. And just sort of like he's clearly kept this beard going so he can appear like someone else. I don't know. I'm liking this scene. This act was fun, and I'm rambling. So Lois.
Yeah. Actually, the beards are interesting in this. They say that Surly has dyed his beard. He presumably just was wearing a different false beard, and the business of shaving Subtle. I think the next scene actually gives the impression of being designed to cover the business of shaving, but in fact it doesn't need to, because there is no shaving. I mean, Face is just taking off another false beard. But yeah, I think that this whole thing is absolutely brilliant. I mean, one of the best bits of comic writing of the period, the way that you get Subtle and Face using all these interlocking manias really to work for them when it looks as if it's going to work against them. It's like a lot of little wind-up toys that are all on a collision course and then suddenly end up going in the same direction, and luckily for them.
Yeah, and well, also then you get Ananias who kind of conveniently takes care of Surly, who's dressed as a count, obviously. Going, be gone, or which is
that's wonderful. Yeah, and of course, as a Puritan, he would feel. I mean, the Spaniards, as Catholics and the arch Catholics of the period. I mean, it would be completely horrible to him. I mean, that line, "Peace to this house," I always think is terribly funny. I mean, somebody with no clue what's going on coming into a scene of total chaos, people hitting each other all over the place, and "Peace to this house." Yeah.
Yeah, I like to think that there's like sort of cracked eggs and stuff, and like just like literal chaos, not just like physical entanglement and like about a fight about to break out, but just like maybe like the sort of the scene of an after party, like sort of with the cups all it's like left everywhere, maybe a broken vase somewhere, that kind of thing. Lynn.
Yeah, the piece to this house is hilarious, but it's like, so is Stacey's line, what was he here for? I can't remember exactly what it was like. What did he want? I don't know, there's something about the timing of that's so funny. And yeah, the design of this whole sequence is really dazzling. The con men come so close to getting discovered and then manage to get out of it. So we've got a Spanish nobleman coming to and expecting to have a conversation with a beautiful woman. But our beautiful woman is occupied. Oh, well, let's use this. Okay, we got that settled. And like, oh no, Surly's here spying on us. And then Ananias randomly shows up and drives him off. Okay, we've got that settled. And they've gotten rid of Mammon. So it's like crisis averted, and then the boss shows up.
It's like, oh, come on. At the end of that, you kind of feel like their disappointment.
Yeah. They think they've just about clevered their way out of all the crises. Then the one thing they really can't do anything about is the owner of the house shows up. Like, oh.
Yeah. I do like how Kastril goes, did you see me, sir? Did you see me do that? The thing with the coral and the thing. Yeah, and it's like kind of like you can kind of imagine face behind him like massaging his shoulders or something, like a wrestling match or a boxing match or something. Clearly I don't watch very much boxing, do I? Yeah, so and any other thoughts about this scene or well, what we've read so far? I mean, we've read 4/5 of the play basically, so this is what page are we in? Well, this is a substantial amount of the play, so like more 20 pages left, approximately.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to get away with it, but also, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Like normally we kind of want order to be restored, I guess. So, Lois.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want Surly to come out on top, except that he does sort of weaken his position by trying to get Dame Pliant to marry him so that he can have her money. But at least he's straightforward with her. He tells her he's got no money, and if she marries him, she'll be helping him out, and he has at least saved her honor.
Yeah,
in the work of this play, that might make him look stupid, but it's kind of odd the way he's used here, really.
Yeah. Then.
Yeah, I was thinking I would comment on that at the end of that scene, but slipped my mind. Yeah, I mean, he's basically arguing, I didn't sexually assault you, so you should marry me. I mean, that's basically the argument. Another man would have taken advantage of this situation and assaulted you, but I didn't. Means I'm a good person. Maybe you should consider marrying me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a weird. I mean, he could have said, as luck would have it, I rescued you from these rogues who were probably going to take advantage of you, both financially and sexually. So you kind of owe me one for rescuing you. But no, he basically says, I didn't rape you. I'm a good guy. So marry me.
Yeah.
Like, it's icky.
Yeah, it is. Connor is like, yeah, that is. Connor, any thoughts on this? Well, I mean, because we've read quite a lot of the play, so if you have any other thoughts as well, please share.
No, it's just coming together quite nicely, isn't it? It's the pace is there, and I just have these visions of it just in one setting, like in a kind of a very domestic setting, people just coming in and out, and that sense of pace and urgency to every kind of scene just builds up nicely in this last act, really, like everything coming together, then big explosion, smoke and debris everywhere kind of thing in the background, And and all the funny thing is about the guy being locked in the cupboard still, and
Yeah, I was
all
thinking
these-
that, and it's like, how are you
Yeah,
gonna
it's just
explain that?
this poor guy got gingerbread in his mouth all of the act. But yeah, it's really comical, and I'm looking forward to see the Master's return. What's going to happen, when we find out on Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. And well, it's kind of like also that thing of, well, he's been locked in there for all this time, and if they forget about him, he will be locked in there when the Master comes in. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be hit Dapper. I mean, yeah. Or any of the others, I guess. Keith, any thoughts? Because you've been laughing throughout this, through most of this. Yeah.
No, I have nothing to add. I think I just love the way this act leaves it hanging when you almost thought it was all going to get tied up. Really looking forward to Thursday.
Yeah, me too. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm not feeling like, oh no, this is going to be like sort of the curse of the final session or something. Alan, any thoughts?
I think we've probably not actually done it as much justice as a staged performance at speed would do, because I think this act, which is about 30 pages, would actually race by, because it would obviously need to be done at pace, lots of people rushing in and out. I'm almost visualizing a 1960s farce type thing of, the door opens, the vicar falls out. Sorry, wrong script, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's that sort of pace of action. And I think the actors, particularly Subtle and Face, need to be really on their game for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
really
they've got a
great.
lot of words and a lot of pace.
Yeah.
Lois.
Yeah, well, another thing about it in performance is just that all these different costumes would be tremendously effective. And especially, of course, Surly's entry as the Spanish Count, which is funny whether or not the audience knows that it's Surly. I mean, the costume is so kind of ludicrous anyway. And then, if on top of that he does something like pulling off his moustache and grinning at the audience, it's not really clear what's meant to happen there. I think in some ways it may be more effective if it is a surprise. On the other hand, I mean, it's a question of how much the audience remembers Surly anyway, in the general complications. I mean, this production that I saw, everybody was doubling, which made it really difficult. I mean, it meant that the actors were in the same state of panic as the characters about, getting the next costume on and turning up. And in fact, they could only do it by having Dame Pliant played by a doll, a very large sort of doll that was kind of mainly held by Kastril. And insofar as she had any lines, he spoke them. And it was an appropriate sort of image for somebody who was just basically used and handed from hand to hand in the play anyway.
Yeah. Keith, you have many thoughts.
It's just struck me there are references to Surly being quite distinctive, physically big man.
Yeah.
Which sets off this little late Victorian fantasy in my head that was the part played by Ben Jonson.
Oh, maybe.
Who celebratedly had a straggly grey beard and weighed in at 22 stone.
He was huge.
Yeah, well, certainly later in life, but he wasn't acting in this. I mean, his acting career was over by this time. He was mainly running around backstage, driving everybody nuts, apparently, and he was known to drill the actors. I mean, he told everybody exactly how to say their lines. I mean, there's a reference to that in a Restoration prologue. The actors are wondering if they can really do this play. In fact, now that they don't have him there to tell them how to say it.
But surely, okay, we've talked about how these Jonson can be quite verbose and long and all that stuff, but I feel like this act you wouldn't really cut very much, because it would lose it would lose the momentum as well, and the sort of the tiny cogs that fit together and make everything keep going. So you'd kind of I don't know, because in one of the other plays, I think it was The Devil is an Ass, we said we could probably omit an entire act, whereas this one seems a lot tidier, definitely compared to other stuff. I don't know. Any other thoughts for this session aside from yay Thursday? Well, Thursday for us. I mean, it's for context. This is we're reading this on All Hallows Eve. Yeah. So quite spooky stuff. Lynn.
Yeah, I have my problems with Jonson overall. I don't appreciate the way he portrays women or fails to portray women. And he really does love to hear himself talk. And yeah, there are people who would disagree with me, but he was a failure as a tragedian. You just don't care. But you just got to give The Alchemist credit. It's just so intelligently constructed, the way the pacing and the way coincidences serve the plot, and it's just really a technical tour de force. And I think, I don't know as much as some people. I'm not as widely read as Lois, so I'd like her to confirm or die. It's also, I get the sense, really innovative. Farce as a genre was usually much simpler than this, like this complex level of people coming and going and just missing each other and stuff. This is something that Jonson introduces to the stage, this level of technical complexity. I'm not sure it's ever been duplicated, in fact.
Yeah, it happens in Volpone as well, though not quite to the same extent, but the plot follows a bit the same kind of trajectory. But yeah, the Coleridge, I think, said that there were 3 perfect plots: Oedipus, Tom Jones, and The Alchemist. And I think it really is one of the best constructed plays ever written. Just about everything does fit in somewhere. I mean, the only thing that you could cut really is just the sheer length of some of the speeches. Almost every time a character uses an adjective, he immediately thinks of 10 others and proceeds to use them all too. And there are things like, I mean, that speech that Surly has early on, where he lists all the alchemical terms that he says nobody could possibly know or remember, and yet he's in fact had to remember them. I think that's one of those lines, one of those speeches where the actor gets a round of applause at the end just for having got it.
Probably.
There are things like that. That's the only thing I can think of. But even there, I think the sheer length of some of the speeches, the sheer abundance of the characters could be fun if you just have to have a cast that absolutely loves words and thinks everything I'm saying is delightful, rather than, oh God, I better get through this speech.
Yeah, and also kind of because also I guess it would have to be at breakneck speed. So obviously you have, and then there's the like sort of moments where the characters are talking to the audience or just asides, like when Face is off stage with one of his marks, and they're kind of chatting and sort of, oh yes, and of course she's of the highest blood and birth and so on, and not so it's kind of I feel like there's a lot of fun involved with like audience interaction as well, whereas it's not just sort of happening on a stage somewhere remotely. I don't know, it's quite an interesting play thus far. I'm intrigued and amused. So and any other thoughts for this session or this play or anything else? Well, I guess all that remains is to thank the wonderful readers for their wonderful reading, and I'd say goodbye, but we are feces. We are all but feces, ashes,